Welcome to Merriam-Webster's Vocabulary Builder. Today we're doing our last unit, unit number 30, and let's get this started with. And we're back to 8 roots and words from mythology and history, just like the olden days, in the first unit, except instead of Latin and Greek borrowings, we have, well, mythology and history, which actually comes from Greeks and the Romans a lot, with a few exceptions that we'll discuss then. Let's get this started with. First off, we have to talk about our toxi, which is a Greek and Latin root that means poison. I mean, if you ever heard of toxins, then you'll know what that is. That's basically a literal poison, and there are also a bunch of other kinds of toxins too, like neurotoxins and those kinds of things. Here you go, words like toxin, which is a poison, toxicity, how poisonous it is, toxicology, the study of poisons, and neurotoxin, like a protein that's poisonous and it attacks the nervous system. Next, we have ten as in tenue, which actually comes from a Latin root that means that the Latin root that is tenuous, which means something thin. Here you actually get words like tenuous, which is basically something that's not strong at all. It's based on something that's pretty weak and its foundations are unstable. Like this, like as in the ceasefire, if a ceasefire tenuous, that means that if one soldier decides to go rogue and attack the other enemy without any caring about the ceasefire, saying I don't care about that darn ceasefire, then well basically that ceasefire would end because it's just too tenuous for it actually to work for a while. Then we have attenuated, extenuating, and distended. Alright, our third root is technoblade, and yeah, unfortunately this next generation will forget about technoblade because either they were too young to remember Technoblade, or they were born after Technoblade's death. But this generation and the previous generation will never forget Technoblade. Anyway, back to this. Techne, or techno, is a Greek root that comes from techne, which means art. Kind of makes sense. And here we get words like technocrat, technophobe, technophile, and pyrotechnique. Also, the famous PvPer and legend in the gaming community, Technoblade. Alright, our fourth root is another Latin root, and it's long, which comes from longus, and you've probably guessed already, it means long. Here we go words like longitude and latitude, and here you also get elongate, longior, and also a word called oblong, which means not exactly parallel, or not exactly like in any relationship to each other, just in a weird, shifty relationship. Our fifth root is ideo, which actually comes from a Greek root named idios. It basically means private. Yes, it means private, and that kind of makes sense too. Identity and those kinds of things. We get words like idiom. I'm not sure how that's private, though. We also get idiomatic, idiosyncrasy, and idiopathic. Okay. Our sixth root is air or error, and that actually means air, which is a Greek root. And here we get words like aerial, aerate, aerobic, and anaerobic. Aerobic and anaerobic are different ways to actually just spread your seeds if you're a plant. And if you're in an aerial way, if you're using an aerial way to actually go ahead into the world, then you're just gonna have to go ahead and go on a plane. Alright, our seventh root is cad, which actually is a Latin root, and it comes from cadere, which means to fall. Here we get words like cadaver, decadent, cadence, and cadenza. Our eighth root is trib, which actually comes from tribure, and this actually means to pay, as in like tribute and those kinds of things. Here we get words like tribute, tributary, attribute, and retribution. Retribution as in like revenge kind of retribution. As in tribute, so that's like you lost, so you give me this much money every year. Sorry, every month. Every month? We don't even have that much money. Exactly. I want to make you poor. Fine. Oh, give me your lands. Actually, we'll just give you the tribute. Good. Alright, so that's actually tribute. Alright, now it's time for our words from mythology and darn history. Okay, here we get words from Greek mythology and Greek history, and also Roman mythology too, because technically Greeks and the Romans are technically just copycats of the Greeks, because like Zeus is Jupiter, Neptune is Poseidon. Yeah, so are original Romans. They copy everyone else, but they make it better. At least in their war, war's a good thing. Alright, next up, at least a good war is a good thing to copy for them. War tactics. Alright, so First off, helicop. This actually means happy, and also this also means to be like calm and soothing, those kind of things. Next, we have meander, which actually means like you're following a winding course, as in like you're just following something that's winding and winding, like the wind. It doesn't go in a straight path. Sometimes it just goes like wee. Yeah, ever seen a kite flow? And next we have odiopole, which actually means you're relating to a very intense emotional relationship to practically someone or something, or like somewhere, whether it's like the politics or whether it's a government or whether it's just a specific person. Okay, next we have ostracized, which actually we've actually discussed already on this channel already, and this actually means you're basically just going ahead and saying, we reject you into our group, like an ostrich is ostracized from the ostrich group. Imagine that. Alright, next up we have paean, which actually means a song of joy. I mean, that kind of makes sense. So here you get, it's like a song of joy, praise, or tribute. Or even triumph, apparently. Triumph. Success! Alright, next we have philippic, which actually means like just a speech that's full of bitter condemnation. A tirade, nothing very polite, so. Like a polite refusal, nah. Next we have, alright, so next we have satyr, which is like a man with a strong desire for a woman. Alright, and finally we have zealot, which is like a fanatical supporter. And this is, yeah, it's like a fanatical supporter, like your mom is always your zealot. Well, at least they should be your zealot. So should your dad. So don't be embarrassed if they just go ahead and start chanting at you very loudly and kind of embarrassing. Don't be embarrassed. Just let them say, thank you, Mom, for praising me and also encouraging me to go ahead and go good in my race, my studies, and those things. Because they're your zealots. They're not there to embarrass you. They're there to support you. Alright, that's it. So hopefully you guys actually did enjoy this episode. And also you probably learned something new. I guess I'll figure out I guess I'll start the cards again for the vocabulary. And until then, Sean out. Peace. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, and please wear a helmet.